Is going to be a video about the rest of lesson 6.2.6. Oh, there we go. 626. This is going to be kind of long because I'm just going to go over everything in case anyone needs help. But you can skip forward if you need, and you don't have to follow along. You could just go do all this yourself if you want. So 118 says use the equation 8 plus x plus negative 5 equals negative 4 plus x plus 7 to do A through C. So it says build the equation on your equation mat using algebra tiles, simplify it as much as possible, record the steps, and draw the picture. I just drew the end piece here. So, you're just taking away what they both have in common. So when you're looking at the algebra tiles, you could, on the left side, you could combine the 8 and you'd have 5 positives and 5 negatives that you could get rid of because they'd cancel each other out. So 8 and negative 5 is 3. And then you have the x left. Sorry, that's wrote over that a little bit. And then on this side, you'd have negative 4 and a positive 4 that would cancel out to give you positive 3 and x. Visually, you could say you have 3 and x and 3. From the last intro video, these are exactly the same. So B says, test these different values. Well, it doesn't really matter what any of these values are for x because you're always going to have 3 and then the same exact number. So they're all going to be, there's infinite solutions. It's always going to be the same. 119 says use this equation to complete them. So we have x plus 2 equals 2x. So you can combine these two x's. X plus x is 2x. So I'll simplify the left side. You got 2x plus 2 equals 2x. Already here, so you have numbers over on here, this side, and variables, and only variables on the right. So we could get rid of the 2x on the left side, and that would leave us with numbers on the left and only variables on the right. So subtract 2x from this side of the equation. Actually, side note, someone yesterday had the revelation that when you're talking about sides, it's the equation, the sides of the equation. Like imagine an invisible line right here. When you're doing things to both sides, you're talking about this side, everything on the left of the equal sign, everything on the right of the equal sign, in case you hadn't caught that yet. And that this cancels out, so you have 2 and equals 0. So 2 equals 0 doesn't work. You can't, there's no value for x you could put here to make this work. So it's imbalanced, as it says in one of these. It says imbalance somewhere. I can't remember. Oh, when is there an imbalance of units on the left map? What does this mean? So an imbalance means that there can't be any solution. Like you could see in this step right here, 2x plus 2, there's 2x and a 2x over here. And those are the exact same, but on the left you're adding 2. So you should know that the left side is always going to be 2 more, so it really can't work out. Moving along. 120, you're just solving all of these equations. So, A, I would really encourage you to just do these yourself. If you can't do these right now, like be honest with yourself, if you can't do these right now, you need to try and practice them yourself. Get yourself on Khan Academy throughout the weekend or, through next week. You don't have to do it over the weekend. But you need to practice. This is like basically the entire test. Or come ask me for help next week. So here you have negative x plus 2 equals 4. So first, you remember we're trying to get variables on one side, numbers on the other. There's only one variable on the left. So it makes more sense to get the variables on the left and have the numbers on the right. So get rid of the numbers on the left. So we're going to subtract 2 to get rid of the plus 2. You need to subtract 2 from the right side to keep the whole thing balanced. And then we have negative x, these cancel out, equals 4 minus 2 is 2. And then you don't want the x to be negative. This is something you might not have seen already. So what you do is you can just switch both of the signs. If negative x is 2 or the opposite of x is 2, then x has to be negative 2. Some people get confused, like, oh, it's just witchcraft, we're just switching them. Well, you could also think of, you just multiply both sides by negative 1. You know, when you multiply something by 1, it doesn't change, but multiplying this by negative 1 would make it positive, and you can multiply this side by negative 1 to change it in the exact same way, and it would make it negative 2. B is, first we're going to, this side is already simplified, but this side you need to distribute. So, you know, as Mrs. Paul would say, you do the rainbows. So 2, remember, this means that there are 2 x plus 3. There's x plus 3, x plus 3. It's like there's 2 separate ones. So you really have 2 x's and 6, because you have 2 x's, 2x, and 2 3's, which is 6. So you can simplify this and just bring this side down. So, you know, it's already simplified. And then I'm going to get rid of the x's on the left just because there's more on the right. So subtract this x, subtract an x from the right-hand side too. These cancel out, so on the left we only have negative 3. 2x minus x is x, and just bring the 6 down. Now we have negative 3 equals x plus 6, and we want to get rid of the 6 because we have negative 3 equals x plus 6. We want the x on the right and just the numbers on the left, so get rid of the 6. Subtract 6 from both sides. These cancel out, so x is all that's left on the right, and on the left we have negative 9. Negative 3 minus 6 is negative 9. C is, this is all very confusing. So first we need to simplify. So on the left-hand side, we've got 5x plus 3 plus negative x. 5x minus an x would be 4x's, and we have 3. So 4x plus 3. Over on the right-hand side, I have 2x and a 2x, so that's 4x's, and I have 1 and a 3, so 4. 4x plus 4. Then we can subtract 4 from both sides. You might already figure this out, but like if you're looking at this, we have 4x plus 3 and 4x plus 4. Well, you're just taking 4x and adding different numbers to them, so there's going to be no solutions. But if you need to keep going to see it, you could subtract the 4x because they both have that in common, and then you're left with 3 equals 4. Well, that can't be, so no solutions. And then this one down here, D, we've got 3x plus 7 plus negative x plus negative 2. I left it like this because in the book they actually don't. In the book they didn't even put parentheses around the negative 2. But 3 plus a negative x would be 2 x's. It's kind of hard to see. And then 7 plus a negative 2 would be 5. So 2x plus 5. The right side is already 2x plus 5. So we have the exact same thing on both sides. So this is going to be infinite solutions. And E, this is an easier one. We have the x's are on the left side and just numbers on the right side already. So let's get rid of this 4. So subtract 4 from the left and the right. And that leaves us with only this. This might be confusing, the plus negative 3x, but you know, you're adding a negative 3. So this all we have over here is negative 3x, and 2 minus 4 is negative 2. So negative 3x equals negative 2. And to undo multiplying x by negative 3, we can divide both sides by negative 3. I'm showing division like as a fraction. You know, remember, a fraction is just division. So negative 3 divided by negative 3 would be positive 1, or just 1x. And negative 2 divided by negative 3 would be positive 2/3. You know, it's a negative divided by a negative. So the answer is positive, and you could just write it as 2/3. F, this is the left side is simplified, the right side is not. So first we need to simplify this on the right side. So we'd have 4 plus negative 1 we can combine, so that's 3. And then we have 3x plus 3 equals 3 plus x. I'm going to subtract the x from the right side. Usually, as a side note, I just try and, you know, on the left I have 3 x's, and on the right I have 1 x. I usually try and subtract whichever side has less, just so I keep my x's positive. You know, if I could subtract 3x from over here and subtract 3x from this side, but then I end up with like negative 2x on the right, which is weird. So anyway, get rid of the x on this side. So subtract it from over here, subtract it from over here. Now I have 2x plus 3 equals 3. And I want to get rid of the numbers now, so I can only keep the variables on the left. So subtract 3 from the left side and do the same to the right side. And now I only have the 2x left, and 3 minus 3 is 0. So 2x equals 0, which means, x equals 0, because you could divide both sides by 2, or think 2 times what equals 0? 2 times 0 equals 0. Hopefully you did well with us.